everybody. I just watched Moonboy's tutorial showing how to make TEAROUT, and I learned a lot, but he didn't completely show how to actually add the sub and the low frequencies. Just wanted to show you guys what I got. Listen to this first. Alright, so I'm gonna show you guys how to, make this lead. Now this is what Moonboy showed, and the awesome thing about this is that there's a billion possibilities. That's the amazing thing. Mine doesn't sound exactly the same, and yours won't either, but there's some fundamental basics here. So first off, let's come here. This right here is what you start with. As Moonboy mentions, there's 4 layers. We have the sub layer, we have a bass layer, a tonal layer, and then a transient layer. I added another bass layer. So those 4 sound like this. This one hit is our foundation. And just so you know, I picked a note here. I chose D, and these samples here, it says F, but I transposed them down to D, all of them, so we can stay in key. Alright, so when you have your first layer, this sub, this is what's giving us the distortion. Now, the way you make this is you use the dirty sub all the way up, turn these off, create your LFO that looks like this. Set it at a bar, envelope, add the noise, J106, an analog, add the LFO to the level, put it down at 7 and make it go up to 60. Everything's good here. Moonboy had it down to -1, so I just did that here. And then in the effects, you just add tube distortion. The trick here is that this tube distortion is distorting the noise and the sub together. That's the sub, noise, and then you add the distortion. Alright, so remember, first, get your sub, long sub. The second bass doesn't have any processing, just reverb. Now when you have these 3 layers, you gotta get your transient layer next. This is just a snare. Group them all together. Add compression, saturation, and a little bit of reverb. Now, I added compression, saturation, and reverb to these 4 sounds. The basses and the sub. The transient I didn't have any reverb to. But now I'll group all of them together, and it goes into this section. Now we're going to manipulate everything. And the first thing we're going to do is add a disperser to add the phase, the frequency phase. Add another disperser. Add a fat rack. Then you have... Cool. And then when you have your sound all created, you go to an audio track, you go here, you go to resampling, you make sure it's going to record, you make sure this is soloed so you can record this, and you hit record. Solo it. Now you have your sound. So let's look at my sound again here. Alright, cool. So this was the audio, and we put more processing on it. Look, another disperser. I have this easy clean rack from Ray Volpe that he recommends, reduce ambience, OTT, British clean, and then I EQ'd out the lows. So at the beginning, we left all the lows when making the sound, all the lows. That's how the sound was made. But now that it's bounced, we're cutting the lows because we're going to add a sub after, its own clean sub. Now if we look at this pattern, it has a couple things. First off, there's a filter you can see going on. So during this section, we have this filter. It's an EQ that's basically the phone, imitating the phone. Big downbeat, straight to the phone. After the phone, it goes fast pattern. Finding a pattern. I'll make one real quick with this. Cool. So we'll go here, get a disperser real quick, get the VR fat rack real quick. Excellent Sound has a fat rack too you can use. Add stereo, fine, get an EQ, cut out the lows. Cool. Hear how this sounds? Cool. Alright, so now we're gonna make a pattern. So it could be boring, no quarter notes, but we don't want to do that. I can also show you real quick how to do the phone thing. You just get an EQ, get a nice band pass, and then you'll automate on and off. Turn it on, turn it off. So we'll just turn it on in this section, turn it off here, and delete these, then we'll make a new pattern. So we could do triplets right here. Boom, boom, boom. Put on more of this. Alright, and then copy this, put it over here, then start making a faster pattern. Cool. I'm going to go back here. I'm actually going to add the easy clean instead of the fat rack. Change it to British clean. It was too distorted with the fat rack, and the Ray Volpe setup is cleaner. And then we can continue making the pattern. We'll go dun 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 dun. And then during this section, we're going to turn on the effect. Get rid of these real quick. Turn on. Off. Alright, now we're going to loop this section. I'm going to show you the sub. This is important. This is what Moonboy didn't show. At first I thought the sub was just coming from this. It had fat sub on the video, but you know, it's just not all daisies like that, you know. We gotta be realistic here. So once again, we're cutting all the lows. sexual high pass right here, looking nice and steady. Cool. And remember, we're in D. So now when we get our sub, it's going to be a D note. I'm going to have two different subs, a long and a short. Let's check out the first sub. Easy. There's a little bit of erosion right here. Overdrive, compression, some OTT. This is Serum, playing a clean sub. A 1-bar LFO. A little bit of soft clip. We got a high cut. So that will mix with this. Now let's look at this long sub and then the short sub. Long sub has a long shark fin. We go to the short sub. It's the same exact sub but a different LFO. It's a little bit shorter, fast attack. It's on trigger. Sounds like this. There's also a sustain bass in here. Jesus. Alright. Sustain bass. Triangle metal. Right here. Analog. -2. FM from B. Regular. It was a regular. Going sync up to 1.7. 2 plus 1. Look at this LFO. LFO 1. It's going oscillator B, coarse pitch. On the default mode. It's a slight ramp up to full sustain at the top. 1-bar rate. And most importantly, envelope. You right click this, set a loopback point. So it keeps looping back right here. This note that's playing is super high. It's a D3. Listen to a D2. I'm using that D2 later on in the drop. It's like right here or something. But D3. I resampled this to audio, and I'm using this one in the actual song. Because I chopped it up like this. So now we got our sustain, we got the sub, we got the lead. And then we got drums, man. We got drums. The thing about this is they gotta be fat. So first, this kick. It's 2 kicks layered. It's 2 fat kicks layered. The side chain is going to the kicks. I can't show you the side chain in this. Maybe in a later video. Leave it in the comments. Next is the snare. Okay, yeah, shit just got real. I'm gonna show you the snare real quick and then we out. Snare, super layered. First is we call a fatty. There's a glue compressor on this group. Second snare is fatty number 2 for thickness, and then to make it sound crazy, triangle, I transpose it down an octave. You can do whatever you want. The snare sounds like this. Fat snare with fat kicks. Everything else is super, super, super loud, so you want to make these, stand out. And yeah, that's about it. And when you have it all together, you can get a song that sounds like this. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want more tutorials, just let me know. And yeah, have a good day. Peace out. Stay fresh all day. Later.